What a week. What a week. I was up until 5 a.m. last night editing video because yesterday, when we did our stream, and I want to thank the intrepid warriors from yesterday's stream because yesterday's stream was something else. Yesterday, we started watching some recordings from a series of workshops that were held at the City University of New York through the Center for LGBTQ Studies, or CLAGS as they call it. And we were watching some of their workshops, and well, it turns out that bootlicking is anti-capitalist, which I'm going to show you guys a clip of. And the thing of it is, though, is that, you know, oftentimes when we get access to recordings like this, socialists suck at technology. Socialists explicitly suck at sound. Sound is a constant problem. And so the sound in the video yesterday for the reverence session about bootlicking, of which we got many great clips, the sound was a little wonky on the stream. And, you know, I couldn't do anything about it on the stream because I'm live on the stream. I'm dealing with their sound. It's not my fault. I didn't have anything to do with it. But I felt really bad because the sound was legitimately an issue yesterday. There was just nothing I could do about it. And so I decided to stay up until 5 a.m. and I edited together a whole video of yesterday's workshop with the sound amped up from the original video. So basically what I had to do is I had to go download the original video, which I already had anyway. I boosted the sound in the original video, and then I overlaid the original video with the stream yesterday so we could style my reactions, because we got to be honest, my reactions were like on point yesterday and I didn't want to lose them. And so I did fix the video, but man, it was a long ass night. It was a long night, but I felt like this is something that is important to preserve. This is one of those moments where I'm like, yeah, Karlyn, this is going to suck, but this is a workshop that you need to actually have a quality recording of this workshop, because we literally saw the City University of New York yesterday do a workshop about bootlicking fetish within the BDSM queer kink community. And they were talking about fisting, and they were talking about bootlicking being anti-capitalist. And it was just a really, it was something. And so I wanted to make sure we had a really good recording of it. Now, just in case you weren't here yesterday, do you guys mind if I play a highlight reel from the event? Just in case you weren't here, or just in case you thought the sound sucked and you couldn't hear it or any of that, do you guys mind before we get into our main show? And we are going to be talking about the American Communist Party today, so I'll address this super chat in a little bit. I appreciate it, though. We are going to be talking about the American Communist Party today, but I thought, just for people who missed it, or for people who, you know, maybe you didn't want to sit through the shitty sound, I put together a highlight reel, and I thought we would start off with that. And this highlight reel is pinned to the top of my Twitter, so I do have a whole thread about this on my Twitter with some of the clips, but I did actually put together a legit highlight reel that we're going to be watching. It's about 15 minutes long. And I'm gonna put the link. Actually, let me do the link to the whole Twitter thread. If you guys are on Twitter as we are watching the highlight reel for the presentation yesterday, could you guys do me a solid and could you tweet out this thread? Like, quote tweet it, bookmark it, do all the things, share it, reply to it. When you do things like bookmarking posts and replying to posts and retweeting posts and quote tweeting posts, bookmarking and replying to posts are really important for the YouTube algorithm. So even if you don't have a large account, or not YouTube, the Twitter algorithm, even if you don't have a large account on Twitter, if you just bookmark and retweet and then reply to things I post, that actually really does help me out regardless of your follower count. So if everyone could take a minute and retweet that thread, that would be pretty great, because God knows conservative influencers aren't going to share it because they're all in their feelings about me. Conservative influencers only share things that are actual news and actual problems if they like you. It's so fucking middle school. It's ridiculous. But we can share it and we can get the information out there. Anyway, I'm going to play the highlight reel from yesterday's stream. So let's dig in, and then we will watch our American Communist Party stuff. But I really do feel like everyone needs to see this. Okay, here you go. Yeah. Is this about them licking shoes? Is that what this is about? Is that what boot blacking? Are they licking shoes?
Of the Power of Leather series. It's a series of in-person dialogues, interactive performances, and community events exploring leather sex, sadomasochism, and leather culture.
They're all dressed in leather.
The series has been presented by CLAGS, the Center for LGBTQ Studies at CUNY, and organized by us, Laura Westard, that's me, and Sarah Sparks. Your enthusiasm for these conversations, located at the center of pervert smarty Venn diagram, meant that we filled the halls of the CUNY Graduate Center with a sexiness factor the likes of which they had never seen. So thank you for coming to Midtown in your fetish wear.
Woo! Somebody being able to just give you physical touch. I think post-COVID, we really.
She's not wearing pants. She's like, what the fuck? Why do I see this woman's ass? Why do I? This is a college. Why do I see this woman's ass?
Anybody else?
So I'm also one of Daddy Katie's children. But I came into bootblacking through the puppy scene originally. And so for me, it is all about the licking. And so I think a lot of people will do one boot all the way through and then the other all the way through. I actually prefer to, clean and then clean, condition and then condition, polish and then polish, and then I can just fully throw myself into fully throw myself into licking, so I don't have to get into that zone and then come back out of it.
Cool.
So I think the way you'd know it was me is you'd have to be like, okay, that's enough licking. I have other stuff to do.
I don't think I would say that though. Tamara, do you have an answer?
What the fuck?
I love that question. I mean, I would second the licking. Maybe with consent, my face might be under your shoe at some point. That's on the table. But I'm used to doing so many things where you're chatting and doing your technical work at the same time. So I'm also really here just for a little kiki, a little conversation back and forth.
All right, Tamara, how can you be anti-materialist and anti-capitalist while practicing the worship of an object and material that is usually a consumer product?
Winner, I win the internet. How can you be anti-capitalist while licking a fucking boot? Can I get a series of Karlyn was right in the chat, please? How can you be anti-capitalist while licking a fucking boot? Just snuck right up on me. Again.
All right, Tamara, how can you be anti-materialist and anti-capitalist while practicing the worship of an object and material that is usually a consumer product?
I love this heady-ass question.
Folks would like me to repeat the question, which I am more than happy to do. So, Tamara, how can you be anti-materialist and anti-capitalist and practice the worship of an object and material that is usually a consumer product?
I love this question because, there's something. I'm a Taurus, right? And so I know very well that collector culture, we're all nerds. We love the attraction of a shiny thing, of wanting to have, the newest, the shiniest, the most exciting thing, right? I've definitely been, fallen victim to that myself. But so much of this work about this practice and about this community is about developing a relationship beyond the object, and to having a relationship of reciprocity in a sense, where it's not just about what your leather can do for you, even though it does do so much for us, but what you can do for your leather, and about learning caretaking, learning repair, learning to extend the life of things, learning, having a curiosity about how something is made versus taking for granted that you can buy a new one or that another one will show up to you. Because so many of the objects that we collect, that we have relationships with, that we wear, that we play with, take on a life beyond, you know, their place of origin, the material that they're made of. And for that reason, leather community has such a practice of generosity. You know, I could wear something for 10 years and pass it on to somebody that I love and love it enough to let it go. And so I see those things happening so in tandem with one another and being very inherent to the spirit of leather and of the material relationship.
Leather belongs to the collective. They're the caretakers of the leather, and it belongs to the collective. Therefore, it is not capitalist.
I am so excited to add to this question. Boot blacking is inherently political and anti-capitalist. Because
yes,
because
yeah. I'm totally having an orgasm right now. I'm not, like, that was so inadvertent. Oh, someone's gonna clip that out of context bad. Can we just rewind and listen to that again? Thank you. Boot blacking is inherently political and inherently anti-capitalist. That was so good. That was the best orgasm I've had all week.
I am so excited to add to this question. Boot blacking is inherently political and anti-capitalist because we are keeping these leathers, these textiles, these items out of the landfill. We are preserving the history of those items to be passed on, to be kept in your closet. So what better
Got our ass out
use
for this
of
question.
your time and skill by keeping things for our community and for our memory. I taught a class, or I would say mostly had a discussion the other day that really talked about whole animal theory. So there is a Black and indigenous practice of using all parts of the animal. You eat the meat, you keep its hide, you can wear its fur, you use its oils and fats to condition the same hide that you're gonna be wearing. And when we think about that as like, these are practices that are really ingrained in who we are, what we're doing is simply just like preserving and practicing what are kind of our right to do as people. It's the correct thing to do. You shouldn't just eat the animal and discard it and not take care of it and preserve it. Like that animal made a sacrifice. You keep showing appreciation and honor to that sacrifice of that animal. And then political, because what we're doing, I mean, whether it's sexual or not, whether it's kinky or not, whether it's whatever you see your boot blacking and leather care as, like, it's completely opposite of what you were supposed to be doing. Like, we have this idea of like, oh, like femmes are supposed to be doing things like this, and masculine folks are supposed to be doing things like this, and like taking care of leather and being like, you know what, I can do what I want, how I want it, dress how I want. You know, it's such a beautiful political act. What is more political than like doing exactly what you're not supposed to be doing? We are taught like you should keep buying, keep spending, put your money into these things. It's so beautiful to be like, no, I'm gonna wear this thing for 20 freaking years if I want to, and I'm gonna take care of other people's things that are like 100 freaking years old. So I don't know if we're allowed to curse, but yeah. But yeah, just I had to put that perspective out there. Thank you for it.
And thinking about it from a boot blacking historical perspective, there was only one person in each motorcycle club, if that's a longer story, that was allowed to do the boots for their club members. They were the one special person that their club members trusted to take care of their leathers so they could continue to wear them on and on and on before we got to this disposable culture. So it's really bringing us back to where we started as boot blacks and what we were doing.
Ooh.
Yeah, I also, can we get a little witchy with it?
I wish you would.
Please. Yes, please.
I'm starting to get licked, so that's perfect.
So you know, I think Marge Piercy says attention is prayer. And the idea that engaging with an object is inherently materialist, like I think that's surface level. I think materialism is not about the physical object itself, it's about the acquisition and the disposability. And in fact, engaging with these objects, engaging with any objects, can be a meditative and spiritual and magical practice.
By the way, you can get your boots done at the party that is going to happen when this panel is over. Do you guys know about this party?
I was worried about that.
Cool. So, last question before we go to audience Q&A. Have you ever fisted someone with Hubbards?
What?
Can you? Is it safe?
Yes. So all of those questions. I've been fisted with Hubbards. I've fisted people with Hubbards. It is safe if you are not allergic to beeswax or pine tar. If you're not allergic to any of those things, those kind of byproducts, you're fine. It's great. It works. It's really nice. Yeah. The smell alone. So yeah, you can do it. It's all really good. If you're going to use it with something with a condom, don't. Most condoms, unless they're not a latex condom, latex condoms will rupture. So if you want to use condoms on toys or whatever, use something that's not latex. And also, be careful with your toys, depending if you've got, I don't want to say higher end, because I've been gifted a bunch of shit, but if you've got more novelty toys, I wouldn't suggest using Hubbards with a novelty toy. It's probably going to make it start to come apart and peel in a very, very unhappy making way. So, no, don't do it.
Thank you.
Good tip. Pro
Yeah,
tip.
Anybody else? Oh yeah.
Because Hubbards is oil-based, I would only recommend using it with a single density silicone toy. If you're gonna do that, anything that's like a rubber or a phthalate, or even a dual density with a soft outside, you're gonna start having degradation of the material. So I would stick with your hands if I were you. It does have a lifelong side effect, which is that you won't be able to smell it without getting turned on for the whole rest of your life. I think a lot of us in this room are in that position.
That's science. Do you guys want to add anything? We're getting a little lube lesson too. A little safer sex.
Hubbards, if you're listening.
Sponsor us.
Sponsor us.
Mormons.
That's why we can't have them as a sponsor. They're very religious. Sorry, guys. Yes,
Whatever,
we've gone
I'm
down.
religious.
Talk to your elders. We know the answer to this question. I mean, what?
You can fetishize that.
There are other really amazing brands out there. I just want to say that. Like, there's so many products. I would say, more importantly, as a PSA, buy products from actual bootblacks. There are a lot of bootblacks out there who actually have homemade stuff. Like, if you go on Etsy, oh yeah, thank you so much, Chai. I have plugged this person so many times. They're probably like, Deja. Yeah, I do, as many times as I can. So this is Red Tiger Leather for those at home. It is a conditioner, and this is someone who is a bootblack and they make it at home. It has tallow, lard, lanolin, and beeswax. Like, you can still find things that don't darken your leather. You can find things that are low allergen, allergen-free, scent-free. Whatever you're looking for, there is a product out there. So, I mean, you could probably even fist with this, high key. But I haven't done it. I'm not a fister, I'm a fisty. But I know we talk so much about Hubbards being like the be all, but there's so many really great brands out there. I mean, Saphir is a really great brand, Angelus, Lincoln, You know, there's International Mr. Boot Black. He has his own line of stuff. So it's like, you know, don't just stick to one brand. You know, explore what's in your price range, explore what smells good to you, feels good to you, you know, just works for your lifestyle. So don't feel like, oh my God, like I really want Hubbards, but I'm allergic to the things. Like there are other products, like don't worry. There's much cheaper products out there, don't worry. You can find something that's very unique to your style of like leather care and boot blacking.
And if we're talking about anti-capitalist practices, finding something that's multi-purpose.
Oh, I just came again. Oh my God.
Okay, on the
That
topic
was so
of being
good.
multi-purpose, it's Q&A time. So here's how this is going to work. If you have a question, you can raise your hand or get my attention in some way, and then Laura Westengard is going to bring you a microphone.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the highlight reel from yesterday's marathon of the Power of Leather series that was presented at the City College of New York 2 months ago in June. And do you know what I found out when I was editing that video? Do you guys know how many people watched that video before us? Less than 3 dozen. It was like 36 people who had watched that video before us. So I'm just saying, guys, if you want to see stuff that the left is doing that quite literally no one else on the internet is showing you, if you want to be ahead of everyone else, hey, you can support the work I'm doing. You can do that by heading over to my Substack. That is Karlyn, Karlyn.substack.com. If you are looking for the full replay of the stream last night with the sound fixed, it is up on the Substack. I also put it up on the YouTube channel. I will be putting the clips we just watched up on the Substack as well, so you can have those each individually. If you want to relive the discussion of fisting with shoe grease that was taxpayer funded at the City University of New York, you know, you're going to be able to do that with the clips that we found yesterday. And guaranteed you are not going to see any conservative media reporting on this, even though they all know about it. Guaranteed you're going to see nothing done about this. Guaranteed you're not going to see this go viral on the internet at all. You're only going to get that here, and that's because conservative influencers are narrative shill con artists who only share things that align with their narrative, not things that are like, you know, actually interesting and important, like taxpayer-funded bondage workshops at the City University of New York. Why on earth would we want to share that information with people? Why on earth would we want people to see that? Only if it aligns with our narrative, senor. But you can always find that stuff here. And I appreciate you guys letting me do this. If you want to fund the work I'm doing, because I'm completely funded by people just like you who just want access to the information and you just want to know the truth, head over to the Substack. That is Karlyn, Karlyn.substack.com. Sign up for $8 a month, $80 a year. You guys allow me to do this. I cannot do this without your funding. And an update. Thank you, average person. So yesterday on the stream, and we will be getting into the American Communist Party in a second, guys, for people who are just here for that. Yesterday on the stream, we talked about me possibly going and doing a West Coast kind of queer research tour within like the next couple of months. I think that's actually going to work out because you know what? I was doing some research last night as I was waiting for this video to render, and it turns out there is actually a lot of queer stuff happening on the West Coast. There's going to be a queer film festival. There's all sorts of queer museum exhibits. There's a queer play in San Francisco. There's anarchist book fairs all up and down the West Coast. And it's all kind of, it's like a perfect storm. It's like a perfect storm of insanity. And so I think I am going to try to do this West Coast tour of like all the different queer things. I'm thinking it's going to be in Los Angeles, San Francisco, Sacramento, maybe some other like towns in there too. But I'm also thinking about maybe popping up to like the Seattle, Portland area and stuff like that. And I have to like actually sit down and look at the schedule. I have to figure out how much all this is going to cost. And, you know, so I guess I'm saying if you're thinking about supporting my work, now's a great time to do it because I can't take trips like this and go do all the research into like the queer exhibits and and I would create all sorts of content for you guys. I would get photos and videos of all this stuff. I would also do like a stickering campaign. I'm hopefully would have my book done by then. So if you want to support Karlyn's queer research trip of 2025, where I gallivant around to all the far leftist stuff on the West Coast, and I try very hard not to get myself beat up, and I'm going to have to wear a disguise, and that's serious, by the way, because I will be talking about where I'm going, but I can't. I am actually known kind of in these communities. And the thing of it is like most of the time queer people are so fucking selfish that they aren't looking outside of themselves. And so I could be standing right next to someone that's heard of me and they won't even notice that I'm there, which actually benefits me quite well. But we do actually have to take this seriously. I almost got my ass kicked in Boston a couple months ago by not taking the disguise seriously, and we're not going to repeat that. But I think this is going to work out. So if you guys want to fund Karlyn's queer research trip of 2025, where I will go all up and down the West Coast, and I will go to queer exhibits, and I will go to queer landmarks, and I will go to queer events and movies and book fairs and all that stuff, sign up for the Substack. We're going to be doing a little crowdfunding for this. I got to buy plane tickets. I got to buy Airbnbs. I got to rent a car probably. Like, I will put together a schedule. I will let you guys know where I'm going and what I'm doing. Hopefully I can meet up with other people out there. That would be pretty cool if people are out on the West Coast, or, you know, I have a couple content creators I could see wanting to meet up with and stuff like that. I think it would be great. So I think that might happen. There's going to be more coming about that in the next couple weeks. And the best way you can do that is by funding it, which you can do on my Substack, Karlyn, Karlyn, .substack.com, and I would appreciate it. All right. Oh, by the way, before we get into the American Communist Party,